Welcome to Y Channel. When you think of the samurai, you probably picture a warrior wielding a long sword. But if you believe that sword was the true symbol of the samurai, you're only seeing part of the story. There was another blade they always carried. Shorter, subtle, yet never set aside. It was the Wakizashi. Why did samurai value this smaller sword as much as their lives? How did it become a symbol of honor and resolve? Once you understand the answer, you may never see the samurai in the same way again. Let's begin.
The Wakizashi is a type of traditional Japanese sword that is shorter than the katana. Its blade typically measures between 30 and 60 centimeters, or about 12 to 24 inches. When people hear the words Japanese sword, they usually picture the long katana. However, samurai actually carried two swords at the same time, a long sword and a shorter one. This pair was known as Daishō, which literally means big and small. The Wakizashi was not merely a backup weapon. It was a symbol of a samurai's status and identity. The Wakizashi became widely used from the Muromachi period through the Edo period. During the Edo period in particular, samurai were required to wear both swords as a mark of their social class. Carrying the Daishō was not just about being armed, it was proof that one belonged to the warrior class. Interestingly, there were times when merchants and townspeople were also permitted to carry a wakizashi. This tells us something important. The wakizashi was not exclusively a battlefield weapon. It was also a practical sword for life in an urban society. So how was the wakizashi actually used? First, it was especially useful indoors. Traditional Japanese houses had narrow spaces, and a long sword could be difficult to handle. In close quarters, the shorter wakizashi was far more practical. Second, it served as a personal defense weapon. When entering a castle or a residence, a samurai was often required to leave his long sword at the entrance. However, he was usually allowed to keep his wakizashi. In that sense, it was the sword that remained at his side at all times. There is also a common misconception regarding ritual suicide, or seppuku. In formal ceremonies, the blade most commonly used was actually a tanto, an even shorter dagger. The tanto carried strong ritual significance. That said, there were situations in which a wakizashi was used, especially if it was the blade immediately available. In this way, the wakizashi became associated not only with survival, but also with the willingness to take responsibility. The wakizashi was always worn close to the body. This did not simply mean always ready to fight. It also meant always ready to face the consequences of one's actions. For the samurai, honor was often considered more important than life itself. If the long sword represented outward strength, the wakizashi represented inner resolve. Wearing it at one side symbolized a constant awareness of duty and accountability. The wakizashi was far more than a short sword. It was proof of samurai status, a practical weapon for daily life, and a symbol of resolve and responsibility. If the katana represents the battlefield, the wakizashi represents the samurai's heart. To understand the wakizashi is to better understand the spirit of the samurai and the deeper values within Japanese culture.
Thank you for watching. The wakizashi may be a short blade, but behind it lies a profound meaning, one tied to a samurai's resolve, responsibility, and honor. If today's story has deepened your understanding of what the samurai truly represented, then this video has done its job. History does not endure simply because something was powerful. It endures because it carries the values and convictions of the people who lived it. On this channel, we explore those deeper meanings, the principles that often remain unseen, yet shape entire cultures. I look forward to seeing you again in another video.